Hey guys, welcome back to Overwatch. Today we're going to be looking at King's Row, the London base. I don't know why they didn't just call it London. I think it would have been pretty cool. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This map's based in London. This is Trace's old stomping ground. It's a cool little map. I think I'm decided going to rename these series because while I called the last one How to Play or How to Play On or something like that. It's not really a how to play guide. It's more just like a tour. So I'm probably just going to call it a tour around King's Row in this case. Anyway, let's get started. So the starting zone, you are in a church. As per usual, there are 3 exit points. There is an exit point up here, which leads you to this street, which doesn't really give you that much at all. It's basically no different from the main entrance, which is of course through there. And then you have this one up here, which is quite nice because you have shots on all 3 main sniper platforms and the off sniper platform down there. However, they have vision of you, and this is kind of a choke, so they can still shoot you, and it's kind of dangerous to go up here unless you're someone like Farah, who has incredible mobility anyway. And you can't really get anywhere from here. Like, you can do a bit of a crazy Genji jump and make it all the way across, but yeah, it's a massive risk for little to no reward. Anyway, so this is the main exit. As you can see, this is the reason I say it's pretty much exactly the same as the side exit, because the side exit lets you out up there, and there is nothing around here for you to like slip past or bypass or anything. So you have to come here anyway, and the main door is right there. So there isn't that much difference. I would say if you're probably going to leave through the side door, you're probably better off coming through the front door. But you know, you can do what you want. Anyway, so the first section I'm going to talk about is this section over here, and including this little building over here. And the reason I'm going to talk about that is because I think this bit is surprisingly important, and too many people just run at this choke here and get demolished by Maze, who just set up walls, Junkrats, Hanzos who can deal with like fragment arrows in here, Torbjorns set up their turrets over there, and Bastions set up over there. It's just hellish if you come in through this way. And there are many different ways to get around this area that not many people use. So the first one I'm going to talk about is a little bit dumb, and this is one of the things I really wish they'd change about this map. I really wish they'd add a staircase up here. Just a little staircase up here that means that more people can get up to this point here. And the reason for that is quite simple. Because also I want them to bridge this bit across here. Not so it's right over, but just so there's a little bit more of a spot. So people like, because Genji can make it, but I want people like Soldier 76 to be able to rocket jump over it. I want people like McCree to be able to roll over it and stuff like that. Just like a couple more heroes that have a little bit more mobility to be able to make it over this one. But I mean, that's just me being frustrated with not being able to attack. So this little zone here is quite nice because you'll be surprised how many people you can bypass doing this. And here is relatively safe. The only sniper platform that can get you is over here, and they're never going to be looking here. And as Genji, and of course as Tracer and Farah and a few other, well, Farah doesn't really count because you can just fly, but with people like Genji, you can do a nice little double jump here and get onto this point here. And the reason this point is significantly better than down there is because Torbjorns like set up their turrets here, and here they can't hit you, which means you can go along here, take a few turret shots, and you can land here. And the capture point is here, and you've basically managed to make it to the capture point bypassing a Torbjorn turret, allowing you access at the Bastion, who's over there, the snipers that are over there, or just forcing their whole team back. And that's why I like that little zone over there. Other than that, underneath here is a nice little passageway. Unfortunately, because of the nature of this, Hanzo is incredibly good here. This is a large health pack, which means you can duel people in this area, particularly if you're dueling here. You can have a nice little fight, and all kinds of cool stuff in there. And this is a nice little cut through, but it's not really useful for anything because if you're running from there into here, it doesn't give you that much. And if you're running from here through to there, you just tend to get owned by loads of snipers. Anyway, another cool part of this map is this section over here. Now, you'll be surprised how easy it is to get into this building without being shot by anyone. It depends where the Torbjorn sets up his turret, but if the Torbjorn sets up his turret behind this section of the wall, i.e. somewhere around here, which a lot of Torbjorns like to do because it's very difficult to kill it, you can get into this building without taking any Torbjorn shots. If they do set up that, you're going to have to take a couple, but you just deal with it. That's why I like to run in this last third here, if you like first to third. You take every single shot until there from this one. If you go through this one, the pillar can avoid quite a lot of the damage that you take. It might drop off. It might drop you off the turret for 1 or 2 shots. I just like doing it. Anyway, while you're in here, there's a cool little nice big health pack there. So if the Torbjorn does hit you, you can get up there. And then you come up here. Now, this is a kind of a dangerous zone, and the reason it's a dangerous zone is because it has a lot of windows, and Hanzos like to use fragment arrows, and Widowmakers like to stare at this, and Junkrats like to shoot at this, and it's just kind of hellish. But if you can make it to here without getting instantly annihilated, don't hang around in this doorway. Too many people sit in this doorway and go, oh, I'm going to snipe them from up here. Excuse me, bad idea. This is a really, really bad idea to do this. If you get on this doorway, instantly drop down. Just maybe get one shot off, but better than that, you just want to instantly drop down. And then you want to use that back passage that I just showed you, that little alleyway, to get to here. Because once you're here, you should be able to deal a significant amount more damage. And of course, there's a little health pack there to restore any health that you may take on the little run by. But once you're in this zone here, it's fairly self-explanatory. The things to worry about is this statue. Basically, if you're attacking, you have to assume that they're going to know you're here. With Hanzo shooting arrows either side, with Widowmakers using all that kind of cool stuff, infrared vision and all that, they're going to know you're there. However, you can use this to avoid damage, to get rid of like Soldier 76 is using their ults, anyone else using an ult, just you can use it just to kind of bypass a little, just mitigate a little bit of damage. There's a small health pack in there. Used to be a big health pack. I can kind of see why they changed it, because it was just like everyone on the defensive team was just sitting here healing up to max. So it was kind of silly. But once you're into this zone, it's still, you're not done. You'll still have quite a lot of trouble left. And the reason for that is these two platforms up here. And you really want to start to consider flanking those as soon as possible. And the way you flank those is quite simple. You can either get up to here, or down there, or anywhere around here, and you go into this building up here, follow this passageway around the back, come to the back of this room, up the stairs, and you're there. Obviously, if you can just jump up onto them, but it depends, some areas just can't do that. Luckily Genji can just climb the wall and do all kinds of stuff. But once you're up here, you should be able to take this, and once you've taken this platform, and you've got pressure on this area, because I've seen some bastions set up over there, and all that kind of stuff, you can take the control point. However, if you can't do that, if you can't do the little run and do some big damage, like if you're not a Genji or a Reaper or a Tracer or someone like that, you might want to run through this doorway here. The difficulty with this thing is, you need to kill the Tourbillon turret, which is going to be here. And once you kill that Tourbillon turret, you want to take here. Now, be careful in here, because if there isn't a Tourbillon, or if there is a Tourbillon, it doesn't really matter, Symmetras like to set up in here, with the teleporter right here, in this little doorway here, just because it means it's difficult to attack, and it gives a nice little spot, and turrets all around it. Like I've seen some Symmetras really cleverly put up turrets like in here, or like on this area here, so they're really difficult to shoot, but they will shoot you really, really quickly. Also, I've told you about the bastions like set up in here. It's just true. Just be careful of it. Bastions can back themselves into a corner here and have surprisingly a high line of sight. Bad things. But once you're in here, you can use that health pack to, if Symmetra does damage you, pick up that health pack. You can go through here and you can do all kinds of stuff, and you can flank from the back, and you should get it. But as long as you get through this area here, this little box, which you shouldn't really be running through, you should be taking that side exit, which is the one I told you about, or jumping over here if you can, or just getting around them any way possible if you can. You really can do a lot of damage. So the first, in the run from wherever you leave there to here, your biggest danger are the snipers up here. Once you're through here, through either this way, which I don't recommend, jumping over the walls, making the big jump, going through the side door. Once you're in this area, your biggest threat is going to be the stationary defenders, Symmetra, Tourbillon, Bastion, people like that. Once you take this control point, the payload will spawn, and of course the first one's a capture point, the second point is a payload, and the payload will go all the way up here, and we'll follow this main path into the last zone. I'm going to talk about this whole outside area next. Now this outside area is surprisingly easy to push it through, and the reason for that is defenders don't really defend this area. Why? I don't know, but they just don't. So if they aren't, what I would recommend is trying to use all these little back alleyways. Once you take that point, this spawn no longer is a spawn, so don't worry about that. Take all these little ways and try and get behind them. Excuse me. So what they'll do is, around about this point here, they'll try and set up a defense. I've seen a lot of Pharahs like to sit up here, do some damage. People like to sit up here as well. Back there. Just around about this area is the area which they'll try and defend. Why? I don't know. I think they should be defending here in this area, because it means you can set up a sniper up here, and they really aren't likely to get flanked. Like, people just don't flank through here. But if they are, you can always flank by... Remember that little thing I told you about over there? If you go through that little doorway there, it leads you to that doorway, and you can just run up through here. And you can come down here and get a nice little flank on them. But regardless, if you just have someone sitting on the payload, they're probably not going to be able to defend it. At least not until the very end. But if they are defending it, my recommendation is to try and just kill them. You should outnumber them. And if they are defending that point over there like a a boring player, but it is very, very effective. Try and get behind them and try and deal damage before your payload gets there. Once your payload gets there, the checkpoint is round about here somewhere, I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so anyway, it doesn't really matter where the checkpoint is. Once you're here, things start to get a little bit real, and the reason for that is you go through what I like to refer to as the shooting gallery. This thing drops, the payload comes through here, and all this area along here, there will be Reapers, there will be Junkrats, there will be multiple Bastions, all kind of Torbjorns, just really trying to lay the smack down on you. And if you watch my Watchpoint Gibraltar guide, you'll see that my the point I was really trying to get home in the Watchpoint Gibraltar was the way you win is you make the defenders not shoot at the payload. And then they shoot at you, and the payload moves, and before you know it, you're at the end, and then you just brute force the end. That's how you win that. That's not how you do this bit. Once you get that, once you capture the objective, you should be able to push it through here with little to no resistance. Once you get to here, you will meet resistance. Once you meet the resistance, you need to group up on the payload and just kill them. You need to kill them one by one and push advantage, and always keep pushing the payload, making sure that you kill the people that are on the payload first, and then just killing everyone else. That in my opinion is the best way of doing this. So this bit is probably it doesn't get easier from here right to the end. It only gets more difficult. So getting through this bit isn't too difficult because the shooting galleries are along here, but you can put yourself in between them and their team, and you can just pick them off by outnumbering them. And around about here, there isn't really any safe spots for people to set up, like people like Torbjorn or Bastion. There's no safe place for them to set up, and they can't really pressure you because there's no way for them to escape really. So getting through this part, you will take some casualties, and you won't do it in one. Like, you will have to regroup and do all kinds of stuff. But once you get to around about here somewhere, things start to get really real. And the reason for that is Widowmakers like to... Did I land it? Jesus, that was really disorientating. So Widowmakers like to set up here, and maybe sometimes set up in there. Pharahs like to do the same. They like to go all over the place and like to set up around here, and all kinds of stuff. But basically, in this point, I would say you either want to go very close to the payload, i.e. if the payload is there, the furthest away you want to be is here. And the only reason you want to be here is so you can like snipe them and divert a little bit of attention and just do all kinds of stuff. And once you get to here, just brute force it. Just kill them. If there's like 5 people on the payload, remember it doesn't move any faster. If there's 3 people on it, that's the fastest it'll move. So if there's 3 people on it, don't be afraid to peel off and try and kill some people, but you just have to brute force it. You just have to stay on the payload at all times, don't get too far away, and just try not to die. If they send 2 people after you to try and kill you because you're on 50 HP, run away. And in running away, you'll do just way more damage than everyone else. As far as... Oh god, Jesus. Oh, don't fall down there, you die. If you like go through this little gap and stuff, you will die. I think you could probably make it with Genji. In fact, let's try it. Jump, double jump, dash. I did not expect to go the way I went, Jesus. But I made it, so you can do that kind of stuff. Pharah can fly under there and like come out around the other side. It's interesting. So brute force it. Don't be afraid to come up here and do some damage. Be careful of that the death drop. Be careful. Once you get it, you should be fine. This map, I would say the tier list for attack is probably Genji, Reaper, Tracer. I really like Genji because Genji can hold his own and can kill Bastions 1v1, and Bastions are probably going to be your biggest threat on this match, on this map. I really like Reaper on this map because he can teleport and he can just really flank people at the start, and being able to teleport in this second zone is surprisingly useful, providing you have someone on the payload at all times. And Trace is just really good because you can do it like kind of a hybrid between the two. Yeah, I really like those. On defense, I would say I'm gonna like Torbjorn's in the top 3, but I'm not going to mention him in the top 3 because he's so good. But apart from Torbjorn, I would say probably Bastion is very good because you can hold the last 2 points really well. I would say Symmetra is really good for the first point because being able to teleport, being able to bring your team forward is so powerful. And then I would probably say people like Pharah is probably quite good, which is weird for me. I'm trying to stray away, like because of course Widowmaker's going to be good, Hanzo's going to be good, Torbjorn's going to be good. All these people are going to be good, but outside of those typical roles, who's going to be very good? And I would probably say Pharah's pretty good. Remember, this is on defense that I'm talking about. And let me think. Junkrat will be very good on this map. Obviously, take those with a pinch of salt. That's very much how I play, and all that kind of creepy. What the hell? Sorry, I'm losing it. All that kind of subjective stuff, which I don't know. It's just how I play. Anyway, the game comes out soon. I'm really looking forward to playing it. Or playing it with my friends. I really, really like this map. I think this map is really, really good. I don't know too much lore behind it. I'll probably read up on that before the game comes out. But it's really cool. A couple of cool things, cool little tips are, there's area back here. As an attacker, I've stayed back here, waited for my team to push out, and then ulted, and then just come out, and it just stretches them so thin that they can't do anything. You can almost always get at least one kill. So you do fine. Yeah, there are a lot of cool tricks in this map if you know what you're doing, even if you don't know what you're doing, like that little jump as Genji. It's a very useful little jump that you can do, and it means you can get from there to there without using any abilities. People don't use Genji's double jump enough. Like, you can do some crazy things with Genji's double jump. Like getting around to here from there without touching the floor. That's brilliant. All kinds of cool stuff. Anyway, really hope you enjoyed this video, guys. What's my outro again? I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.